Hello there. Do you enjoy photography? Would you like to make your pictures a little bit nicer? Well, I'm going to give you a whole bunch of different tips in this video. So this will be my first one. I'm going to do a whole series of these where we'll get into a little bit more in depth. But let me start out by saying that I took all these images and they are copyrighted, and I'm not giving permission for anybody to lift these photographs. I hate to have to say it. However, if people ask, I've been known to say, sure, yes. And I just don't want people using them without permission, okay? But what I want to do is I want to give you a whole bunch of different ideas. And, you know, I'll show you some techniques. You can imitate some of the things I have. Like this is a nice one to start off at. This was, of course, taken at a bonfire, but somebody threw a pallet on there. Look at how nice that came out. The flames came through the cracks and everything, and I really like it. Look at this little face here. We're going to talk more about faces. It looks like a little elf. Isn't that interesting? But many of these pictures are totally accidental, just like this. And but that's a good idea for you. You could put a palette on there. Now we're going to go through these kind of quickly. But this is an example of how you don't always have to get the whole subject. And that's a pretty cool picture. I like that one. Horses are great. This one, you blur in the water and taking pictures from below the flowers. You don't really see that too much. That was a nice sunset. That goose came out really nice, playing with fireworks. We're going to talk about black and white, how sometimes color just takes away, it distracts you from the actual subject matter. But I really like that picture. I'm black and white film too. And, things that are no longer. I don't think this barn is standing anymore. And why, we'll talk about why it's important to capture things before they're gone. A lot of times these barns, you've been driving by them for decades. And then one day you drive by and it's gone. The wind blew it over. So it's important to do that kind of stuff. And how do you like this crazy shot? uh, anyways, you know, and have you ever seen a blue jay do that? Me neither. But there's a story behind all these photographs here. And I'm a very prolific photograph. Look at that. Looks like a nice little dog. Oh, looks like he wants to tear me apart. Yeah, see. Now, this is a little out of focus, of course, but the eyes are nice and clear. And a lot of times when you're taking pictures of animals, if you can capture those eyes, you can save that picture. Now, he looks like he was about to get me, right? He was really just eating a Cheeto. Isn't that funny? And who doesn't like Willie? And who doesn't like Allison? This I took a picture at the air show. I'll tell you how I took that. Look at that. That is not, um, I didn't Photoshop that or anything. That was taken in the real time, and I'm almost perfect. I'm off by a fraction of an inch. And well, wait till I tell you how I took that one. And what a beautiful cow that is, right? Don't you think? And I just have any Sabres fans out there? I just have there's just so many things, and there's so many things to point out. That, oh, yes, there we go back to the fire. I'm going to teach you. Look at that face. I don't even have to point it out. I'm going to teach you how you can take pictures like this. And look at that. Wait till you hear the story behind that one. I'll tell you the story behind that one. It was a dark and gloomy day, and I was up in Niagara Falls, and they set the picnic tables up all throughout the year. And this is how they happen to have set them up that one year. But it was a real dreary, ugly day. So I took that picture and I, of course, changed it to a negative format when I took that photograph. And I think it came out really cool. I really like this is one of my favorite pictures, actually. This is kind of interesting because look, you have all the nice stationary blocks here and all that water coming down. It shows the motion. And again, you don't always have to get the entire subject in the photograph, you know. And there's plenty of opportunities for pictures to be taken all over the place. This is a picture of City Hall in Buffalo, New York. You cannot take this picture anymore because right here they put up a big building. So you have to be opportunistic too. There was a building there, I believe, that partially blocked that view, and they tore it down and they put up some big monstrosity. But Buffalo City Hall is really a beautiful building, and but you can't get that shot anymore. This is just the creative. This is my pop bottle collection. I collect old pop bottles, and I fill them with colored water and put Christmas tree lights behind them, and it looks beautiful. Now, this is a cool one. Sometimes you can't just take one. It's a place called Eternal Flame Falls. And as you can see, where I'm down in the valley here, ravine, whatever you want to call it. But look at that's a flame right there. This is all natural, so we'll get a little closer. Look at that. Have you ever seen such a thing before? That water cascades, there's like a little grotto and methane gas seeps through the rocks, and you just light it with a cigarette lighter. And it's really pretty cool. I'm going to show you how you can take pictures of great animals like porcupines and just scenics. Wait till you hear how I made this one. And you know how you can catch those yellow jackets in a container? That's what you're looking at. Those are baby robins. My son took this picture. One of the things I'm going to say is be prepared and always have a camera. But he was in a junkyard looking for parts for his pickup truck, and he came across this. And I wish I had taken that picture. But that one's my son's. But I took the others. And again, that came out, I think, really nice with the way the lighting hits it and everything. And again, you don't have to get the entire subject all the time. There was just some random telephone pole that was wrapped up with this very old cloth, and I thought that kind of looked neat. Kind of looks like a face with a tongue, or I kind of liked it. That is the stealth bomber. Look at that. There's a train going by. I don't know if you can hear the train, but just give me a moment. Well, that kind of looks like a sparrow, doesn't it? But that was pretty cool. And look at that graceful bird. That's a common tern. Those are challenging to photograph. Here's I live not far from Niagara Falls, but here's a nice and a nice thing, and we're going to talk about. Everybody takes pictures of the falls the same way. Well, I try to do my things a little differently. I like to get the pictures the same too, but I thought this one came out really nice, and it's different, and I don't know if you guys like Queen's right, but that's Jeff Tate. We do concert photos. We'll talk about that in patterns. I use this for a business card before. It came out really nice. I jazzed it up a little bit, but how I got that picture was I pulled those black-eyed Susans down with one hand and I took the picture with the other. And I have a better version of this, but it came out nice. Here's another one. The Conrails, one of the fallen flag railroads. But there was an interesting way that I took this at night. We can talk about that. Squirrels. Ooh, the serpent. Butterflies. Well, I'm going to tell you how you can take pictures like this, okay? You might not be impressed right now. And this certainly isn't the best picture. But here I am sitting in that thing. And there it's yielding 90 bushels an acre. And I'll tell you how you can do things like this. I'm going to tell you how you can make money with your pictures too. I photographed my daughter's softball and baseball league. I made some good money doing that. And there's an interesting story behind this. No, she did not get hit with that ball. That's not my daughter. But what happened was the ball bounced up, and it just looks like she's about to get smacked. That was one of the coolest pictures I caught when I was doing that. And you can make more money. Here's a little bit. Um, I had it in the newspaper. What a graceful bird. There's that common tern, and again, they're very hard to catch. That's a great blue heron. That's an egret or egret. I don't know how you say it. You think I'd know by now. This one is an osprey, and look what he's got. He's got that little fish. I wish this one came out better, but I blew it up kind of, and it loses some of the detail, but that's pretty cool. I felt sorry for that fish. Can you imagine swimming around and all of a sudden something just talons just go right through your body and you're flying through the air, and all of a sudden you're in their nest and they're pecking out your eyes. We think of nature is beautiful, but it's pretty brutal when you think about it. This is an observation tower. It's an interesting thing at Niagara Falls. It's just the boring old building, but you can make boring things look interesting, like this. This is just the view outside of my dentist's office, and yeah, just something simple in the black and white. Black and white. There's a lot of good reasons to choose black and white. A lot of times, pretty reflections on the water. This one I had to doctor up really good because, again, it wasn't the most perfect day, but I like this one, the way it turned out. This one looks like I'm flying with that airplane. I'll tell you how I took that. And a lot of people are afraid of bees. Well, I've got news for you. You can get right in those bees' faces and they will not bother you. You would be surprised. And you just see interesting things everywhere you go. That's the locks in Lockport, New York. And just a different type of sunset. More of Queensryche right there. I just love that elephant picture. You can get good stuff at the zoo. And I love birds too. And I just stumbled upon this. This was exactly how I found it. I didn't do anything to it. And I just thought that looked really cool with the shadow. And I thought that was nice. If you look close here, look at this. There's a little bug. Look at that. So I started, I always like flowers. I thought that looked really nice, that church. I always like flowers, but I never really paid attention to them. And I started taking pictures of the flowers. We're going to talk about the macro feature. And then I started noticing these cool bugs all over the place. So we'll see a little more of those. I took pictures for a friend at their band. Don't ask me how I did that because I don't know. But sometimes you get, I like this a lot. Sometimes you get crazy things without even trying or by mistake. And that came out pretty cool, I thought. Same with this one. He didn't look like that. They was just the lights, and it's a little out of focus. And that picture cracks me up. So there's cool things all over the place. Playing with sparklers. Okay, I wrote hello, Hello, and that was nifty. Look at all the stars. That was my pet gecko getting ready for a snack. And look at how nice that is. You can see all the little texture and the bird's feathers and that. Did you guys know that seagulls had a red ring around their eye? This is called a green heron, by the way. And I can tell you, they're very difficult to photograph. I can't believe I got this nice picture, but I can tell. I'll tell you how I got that. And this there was an air show, and I forgot what kind of jet that is. Somebody will enlighten me. An F-18 Hornet, maybe. And he's got the afterburners going. He's just about to break the sound barrier. They didn't break the sound barrier, but they got really close, and you could see the shock waves forming. It was pretty cool. And again, here's another nice black and white picture that if this was in color, you really wouldn't notice all the texture and simple. But I like that picture. That's a snapping turtle. And this is where I used to get my hair cut when I was a kid. Well, who cares? It's a boring picture, but there's a moral behind the story. And it's, one day these things are all gone. And that's sentimental to me. Same with this, it's probably not there anymore. This was an interesting picture. This is a picture of that combine. But what I liked about it is it caught the reflection of the farm. And it came out pretty cool. It's a monarch caterpillar. See those bees? You can get right in their face. They don't bother you. Get a little artsy taking a picture of myself. The cardinals are beautiful. How do you like that? The spider web in the morning dew. There was a lot of these days, you go out and you don't have ideal conditions, but I think this one came out pretty cool. The cactus. You can take pictures at the aquarium. You can take pictures when you go camping. Oh, the bears are really cool. Something about being that close to something, knowing it could just rip your head off. It's very exciting. I was inside the cabin on that one, but the glass in these cabins is so cheesy you could probably break it with your pinky. Now, this is another nice one I like. Again, nice and simple. This was a leaf that was in the snow. This was in the springtime, and all winter long, it was deteriorating. It was kind of like tissue, but just something simple. I really like this one too. The texture of that tree and the colors. It's nice. There's a little beaver. Something simple, a dilapidated old house. I took this picture. I was sitting in my car at a light and I saw this hawk and I took this picture through my sunroof. Now, I wish it was a little better, but some pictures, they're just too cool to ditch. Fawns. And I'll show you how you can take a picture like this, turn it into that. And then I just applied filters to these trees pictures. I have a whole series, and that came out. I have more than that, but I thought they came out pretty cool. I thought it was kind of put them together in like a collage, and there's like 8 images, the same image, and it looked pretty cool. It's the Niagara River, a little bit upstream from Niagara Falls, and that one came out nice. I was fortunate to catch that. Again, playing with sparklers. That's the gray catbird. The woods are great for pictures. Nice one of that F-16. You see the pilot in there. You can see him really good in here. Like that's either that hose from the mask they wear, or I don't know. But that's a nice shot. That's a dark-eyed junco. Turtles are very difficult to get pictures of. I'll tell you a trick I use to get those. And seagulls. That just looked cool. That one piece of rock, it must have iron in it. And it stuck out like a sore thumb. I kind of like that simple picture. Seagull flying. They're easy to catch. And here again is another one with black and white and the texture and the contrast. And this is another one. This is a ship that I think they scrapped it. You know, it was taken with a very poor quality camera, but but I still like it. And we'll talk about when your pictures are less than desirable quality. This is a nuthatch. They'll eat from your hand. And look at that. That's a downy woodpecker. Now, I know it's blurry, but at least I got the image. But we'll talk about that and how to find places like this, okay? And you have to be prepared. I'm a big Alison Krauss fan, and here she is, smiling right at me. Um, but I missed the boat. I was unprepared. Can you believe it? But I bet she's a real sweetheart, actually. So she smiled for me quite a few times, actually. And yeah, look at her messy hair. She's like a normal person. You know what I mean? Down to earth. If you're not an Alison Krauss fan, hmm, you should give her a whirl. She's always so smiley in that. And I'm going to see her this coming Saturday, actually, in Canandaigua, New York. I saw her last year. And you know, she's played songs with her bands umpteen times, and she just stands there when it's their part to play, and she just watches them. And you can tell she's just enjoying herself so much. This will be the 15th time I've seen her. She beat Rush last year. I saw Rush 13 times. And last year I wound up seeing Allison 14 times. But if you like Alison Krauss on my page, I have an Alison Krauss playlist of mostly stuff I took, including some really great stuff if you're a Zeppelin fan with Robert Plant from like 20 years ago, and it kicks ass. It's really great stuff. Anyways, I, who doesn't like Willie? I saw her open for Willie twice, and I think I like the headband Willie, but I don't know who this guy is. If it's, I don't know. But anyways, you know, look at that guitar. This is probably the most valuable guitar in the world. He has all these people sign it, and I don't know if we can see anything in there. Look at all that. To a True Gentleman, Tune and Tom. I wish we could read all the names on that. Look at this. Let's say Roger Miller and Paul. I can't read that. That's really something. But I really want to get a shot of that guitar. Isn't that fantastic? And what a sentimental guy. I love it. I love it. The crowd loved Willie too. If you didn't get a chance to see him, I don't know if he's touring anymore. But well, you missed yours truly. And I got to meet Ralph Stanley. Did you ever see that movie, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Well, Ralph Stanley sings "Oh Death," and that's what he's really popular for. But he's got so much great music, man. And what a treat it was to meet Ralph Stanley. You know, he's shaking, holding my hand here, shaking my hand. I felt bad after I'd shook his hand because it was so arthritic. And but you know, what a gentleman, and he obliged me, and yeah, it was a great treat. It would have been nice to actually know him, like all these other famous people here say, but Ralph Stanley's fantastic. That's Dan Tominski. He was also in that "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" movie singing Man of Constant Sorrows. And he's not with Alison Krauss and Union Station anymore, but he was really good too. And I saved the best for last. Alison Krauss, here she is again, looking right at me for taking a picture. I was actually taking a video, and I snipped this video of this picture out of the video. But yeah, she's fantastic. What can I say? Anyways, that was just a brief overview of all the. We're going to talk about a lot. So the next one, if there's something you would like me to start off this series, I'm gonna do a lot of these videos. If there's something you would like me to talk about first, something you want to learn how to do, something you'd like to do better, well, let me know. Leave a comment, and we'll get down to business. I have so many pictures. I'm ridiculous.